Historical Society. Almost gave you a new name, the Secret Society, because I didn't even know this existed. But this is really unique and special, and I don't know if other small towns do this, but this is first class, and it just reaffirms my belief that we probably moved to 6 or 7 different neighborhoods as we raised our kids, and we are yet to find a Sabina. Growing up in this place, man, it was special. Back in the day when you left your keys in your cars, your doors unlocked, and we had screens in our windows. And we slept 2 and 3 in a bed and nobody cared. We didn't have 2 nickels rubbed together, and we didn't know better. And we didn't even care. Because everybody were neighbors, and we took care of each other. And I miss that. It's really special. So I feel silly in a way that, first of all, I've got a bad little bit of bronchitis, but the good news, it's getting better. Getting beat last night in the football game didn't help the cause. We're going to make it through it. But after hearing everyone's talks, it's a little bit different. And it's kind of fitting. I think when Pete and Lucy moved to Sabina, I think they kind of changed things a little bit. In a lot of different ways I probably can't talk a lot about. One is the stories from the Carnahans and the 7 people fighting at the same time in the house. And probably words that make most people blush coming out of the house. But there's some stories that Carnahans can share. So when I was asked to do this by Susan through Bill, I said, man, I've never done anything like this. I don't know what to do. I said, man, I'm gonna make this a fun thing. So I thought, see, when Mom died, I was 19. Very small. You think about how, you don't know your mom or dad when you're 19. I mean, I just cared that I had enough money to go to McDonald's and get a French fry, or had clean clothes, and I knew where my swim trunks were at. So I knew very little. So there was like a 10 to 12 year gap between all the kids. What's really unique is that most of you in here knew my parents and probably know stories still that I've never heard in my life. So I'm constantly running into different people that said, I got to tell you a story about your mom and dad. So man, it's just, so I get to relive it and hear all these new things. And unfortunately, a lot of you watched me grow up, and I spent time at most of your houses either eating food or messing up lawns or whatever I did, along with brothers and sisters and your sons. So here we go. And I call this Pete and Lucy's funniest and memorable encounters as told by the Olds family members. So in no particular order, Steve was my first guy. So here's for Steve. He says, this moment occurred shortly after Dad had broken his ankle at work. He fell off a dock at Rickenbacker, stepping off, and the bone shot right through that big leather boot and right out the side of the boot. Oh. And he told me the story, how they got that boot off. I have no idea how that happened. But anyway, it was a bad thing. And back in that day, he didn't want that kind of an injury. So they casted him from his hip down to his ankle. And I think he probably was in a cast for 9 months. Probably 4 or 5 different casts. They just didn't have the technology or the knowledge how to fix that today. If they'd had that fixed, he'd be still probably running around the track at East Clinton. So one day, his dad had his big cast on. Steve and Bill got into a scuffle, no surprise, in front of Dad. And and Steve was chasing Bill. Bill made the mistake by running by Dad. And keep in mind that Dad, had a hard cast on. Again, as I said, from his hip down to his toes. As Bill passed by, Dad reached out down the back of his leather belt and just yanked him. And Bill stopped real quick. Well, Steve was close behind, couldn't stop quick enough. And of course, Dad got a hold of Steve. And as Steve tells the story, it says, so Steve ran into the pile of humanity. Dad snatched up Steve and quickly got him in a headlock. And they took Billy and got Billy in a scissor lock in his cast and his leg and managed to subdue them both. So he probably whooped them right there and going down. But that's something that Steve wanted to share with me. It was pretty cool. So, for Bill, this surprised me. Now, these stories I've never heard before either. And you would think you'd know everything about your brothers and sisters, but there's no way. Yeah. For Bill, his moment occurred under Mom's watchful eye. One day in the summer, Bill was about to head to the local swimming hole, which was the Sabina pool, which was amazing. If you think about it, back in the day, we had one of the nicest pools ever around central Ohio. I believe that. And it noticed his trunks were in a serious knot. Mom had a knack for fixing anything, and she could do anything. So Mom took Billy's trunks and started to get the knot out by using her teeth. As she started to battle the knot in the trunk, suddenly her front tooth gave way, broke off, and shot towards Bill. And Mom was a little bit shocked, and Billy was amazed that a person's tooth came out so quickly from a person's mouth, trying to do the knot. And Mom really didn't have much to say. And I could just envision seeing Mom saying, oops, you know, not saying anything. So that's Billy's story. So Bob is next. As I sense I have a soft spot in my heart for my brother Bob, I let him submit a story on both Mom and Dad. For Mom, it was a sunny spring morning out on the farm on Greenfield Sabina Road. And I was really, really tiny. Mom was in early stages of becoming a country woman by prepping, planting, and harvesting her own garden. Neighbor and family friend Carl Custis oversaw her progress. As Bob watched Mom weed out the garden, Carl happened to swing by for a visit. Carl walked up to Mom and says, as she was about to finish up the weeding, and asked Mom, she says, you know, what are you doing, Lucy? And Mom says, I'm pulling out the weeds of the garden, Carl. And Carl laughed and said, Lucy, you just pulled out all the vegetables. So, again, Mom got that same look on her face, like, okay. So, and his other story about Dad was a humbling one for Bob, and he really felt humbled after this story. So Bob had just, began playing 7th grade football. Sabina's first ever 7th grade junior high football team. I didn't know that. One evening after practice, Bob came home to the typical dad question. What did you learn at practice today, Bob? Of course, Bob's answer was one you'd hear from any adolescent in today's world. Just some football things. Then Dad asked, have you learned the 3-point stance yet? And Bob's reply was, Dad, that's old football stuff. We're learning the new football stuff. Little did Bob know, at the time, Dad knew much more about football than he led Bob to believe. Dad went to school in Barberton. Of course, his claim to fame was he played with Bo Schembechler. And I got to meet Bo Schembechler at a banquet. And he was going to be there. I brought Dad's Barberton yearbook. And he was, of course, surrounded by so many people. I waited in line. I said, what do you think about this, Coach? He looked at me and said, where did you get that? He started opening up. His wife got right there. And he didn't really remember Dad. I think Dad was kind of on the wrong side of the tracks. And he was ornery, but it was a pretty cool moment for me. For me, my story involved one early summer morning. Mom was fixing me a bowl of cereal. My go-to was Cheerios and chocolate. It tastes a lot better than it sounds. Don't knock it till you try it. All right, but on this morning, we were out of Cheerios. And if you've ever been to that house, and where you kept food for 9 people was on the floor in a big sliding cabinet. And that's where we kept our food. But little did I know that probably wasn't the best place to keep food, at least in that house at the time. So Mom went down and got my second runner-up, was Rice Krispies. Took a brand new box of Rice Krispies out. And I'm watching. I got my bowl right there. I got the milk on the table. She started opening a brand new box of Rice Krispies. And so she got it open, a mouse jumped out of the box. Brand new box. So that's a lot, maybe an open box. It's a brand new box. Jumps out of the box. She screams, throws her Krispies, hits the ceiling, gets on the chair, starts crying and screaming. And of course, that gets pretty funny. So that was my story with Mom. And from, I think we're up to Maria next. And here we go. And for Maria, and again, she being the baby of the family, there's not a whole lot of memories for Maria like most of us had, even though she's just 2 years younger than me. Some of the stuff she wanted to share was the fact that, her and Mom had a lot of time riding bikes together. So they loved to ride bikes. And she could also remember sitting on Dad's lap and singing. Did it a lot, she said. Mom was a wonderful baker, and most of you know she could cook about anything. And she would make it a habit of making sure she cooked our birthday cakes every year we had them. So they both volunteered in the community, and most of you know. Mom coached the softball team for years, Maria says, was a playground mom. I wish we had playground moms in school today. They don't exist, okay? Teachers do that, so start earning their money. But anyway, longtime member of the Mothers Club, chaired many fundraisers. Dad served on the school board, cooked chicken at Labor Day events, spent countless hours at the football field, and they were wonderful hosts. They threw the biggest Christmas party every year for many years. They truly loved Sabina. for Brenda, when Brenda started to talk about this, it really started to bring up some memories. And some of you probably relate to this. Mom used to take Brenda to the fabric store in Washington Courthouse. Mom was really good at sewing. I guess you don't have a lot of money, you make your clothes. And she made a lot of clothes. She was very good at sewing and cooking. She used to let Brenda, this is a big thrill for Brenda, she'd take Brenda to the store with her, and Brenda got to pick out her favorite fabric. And she had a wild, she didn't think like everybody else. She was a little different. So she picked out her fabric, and then they would proceed to make her a dress or a skirt or a vest. And I told Brenda, I said, I remember that now, because I was really small, but the pattern was really thin paper, and I could remember the blue lines on it, and I could remember Mom taking the pins and pinning it on top of that, and then she'd take these great big scissors with black handles, all right, and she would cut and she would sew. And I told Brenda, I said, man, that's a cool memory, because I wouldn't have remembered that. So Mom used to brag to everyone who listened how creative Brenda was. And if you know Brenda today, she loves arts and crafts, she paints, she does a lot of different things. Lastly, Brenda told the short story of her riding home, and she didn't want me to tell this, but I think it kind of sums up Brenda. Short story of her riding home, one of the many old bicycles. We couldn't afford 7 bicycles, so you had 2 or 3, and you had to make sure at least one was running. So she got the one that was running. You know, of course, we lived next to the Carnahans. We didn't have a bike rack, man. The bike rack was you get off the bike and you throw it on the ground to get in the house. So, as she threw the bike down, Steve and Dad were sitting on the front of the porch. Their 2 boys were out front, went to talk to Brenda. And, let's see, it says Dad and Steve were occupied. The 2 boys, as Brenda pulled up, Brenda vividly recalls Dad looking at Steve and saying, she's hell on wheels, ain't she? And Brenda was in 8th grade at the time, and needless to say, Pops had her nailed to a T. She's a quite a wild lady. But and last, I think this is the last one, is Jimmy. And it says, leave it to the oldest sibling to rewrite the script. When asked the same question to Jenny, her funniest, favorite, most memorable moment is really unique because it's neither funny. I guess it would be quite memorable, but Jenny being the oldest, the first sibling to get married is a pretty big deal. It happened on her wedding day. To no one's surprise who knew Lucy, she decorated, cooked, and prepared the food for the 150 people. And that's what she did. And the reception, Jenny says, was over at Washington Courthouse. And one would think on that day, doing all that work, she would just take time to enjoy her friends and enjoy the moment. Well, Mom just evidently couldn't sit still for much longer. She always had an apron she wore when she cooked. She brought it for some reason. She always wore a special pair of shoes when she cooked. She brought those too. And wouldn't you know, before the ceremony's over, she's got a apron on. She took her dress shoes off, put her work shoes on. She began and helped serving the 150 guests. And if you know Mom and Dad, 2 really, really unique people. And, died obviously very, very young. But, again, God's got a plan, and having the olds is a part of Sabina, and we're all interwoven in this room. And again, thanks the Historical Society for doing what you're doing. And on behalf of Steve and the rest of the family, we appreciate it very much. Thank you.